Hi Office at Work champions. Welcome to the March edition of the Office at Work Insider. In this episode, we will cover how you can use a SharePoint List Item Picker to add any elements from SharePoint right into your mail signature, and how the verifier can automatically update any content while running in the background. My name is Chris, so let's get right into it. Martin, what news have you got for us?
Hi Chris, for this month I've picked two features, one's in the mail signature and one's in our chooser products. I'll start with the mail signature and I'll pull up a typical, it's our presentation mail signature that we use for presentations, and this has just all the features built in, and one of them is the one here. I have now an organization listed in my input choices I have for this signature as a user, and this one is actually connected to a SharePoint list. So if I now, for instance, choose this Singapore entry, it should change parts of my signature. The most visible one, of course, is the logo. If I go back here and choose my Frankfurt entry, then you'll see again the logo will change, and maybe some other information also changes. And that's what the user experience is. So you can have signatures connected to a SharePoint list, which will greatly improve the versatility a signature can have. And one of the most common ones is to connect it to legal entities that you have, if legal entity information is actually listed in your signature. Let me show you how this is done. I'll put this away. And I'm going to the mail signature editor. I'm just picking a empty new simple signature here, and I'm trying to get the city information from a list into my signature here. So I'm just going to type it here, and you can see it appears here. That's the one I'm trying to achieve, or the one I'm trying to get. And I'm trying to get that from this SharePoint list here. So here's a SharePoint list, any list in your tenant, in any structure as you wish to have it, and connecting it to this list. The way I do this is I'm going to add a new form element, a form element called SharePoint List Item Picker. And the important thing for that is that I am connecting it to my SharePoint list. But I also need to give it a name, because if I put in fields in my template, I need to be able to reference them. So I'm going to call this company, and I'm also going to call the label company. Okay, and then in the connector area, I'm going to paste the URL, and that's the list settings URL of that SharePoint list. And I'm going to choose which columns to search in, which columns to show. I'm also going to say, as an additional description, I also want to show the city in the search results. And then I click on Done. Once I've done that, I already have this new element here. I can drag and drop it where I want to have it, and I can simulate how the user experience will be. I can pick Frankfurt. I can go back here. I can pick Singapore. But you see there's nothing happening in the template because we haven't set that field yet, the placeholder. So I'm going to go here on the placeholders, and this new company element appears because I created a new SharePoint list element, and I'm going to choose city here, and it's going to write the formula for me, and as a result I'm going to see the city in my signature. And if I go and choose a different location like Frankfurt, I'll get Frankfurt. If I choose Tokyo, I get Tokyo. That's basically how it works. And of course, we can see customers using this for many different things. You could pull in a brand, you could pull in a project, you can pull in customer data, whatever you wish to pull in that is available via a SharePoint list. But the most common thing is like legal entities, where an international company has many entities around the world, and they may want to have a different web page URL or a slightly different branding part or image, and that's what it's for. It gives full power to whoever designs the signatures to adjust to all these different regional differences. And all of that can be done with one single signature, which saves the user from switching to signatures. And there's even a default setting where you can say if a user has a department or a location in his address, it automatically selects a certain record in the SharePoint list so that users have it already pre-filled correctly the first time they use it.
Also, you could take any of the things that are in the SharePoint list, any of the, let's call it columns.
Columns, yeah, any of these columns.
And it will automatically, because of the link, it will automatically recognize that these are the different categories or columns that you have, and therefore you can choose any of these and insert any of them.
Yeah, that's what you get here under company. These are all the columns, and we're listing all the columns we can read, and you can set any kind of, for instance, if you want the internet address is this one here, and here you can see the internet address being shown. It's the same one, I think, for most of these organizations. Let me see if there's a difference in any of them. Oh yeah, here we are. Here's a different web address, and you could hide that as the link behind an icon or behind an image that you have on your email signature, so people are directed where they should be directed, and you're still using the same signature template.
So it's just a really easy way to set everything up, right? If you have a SharePoint list ready for you, then you can easily change your signature within minutes instead of having to spend a long time really configuring it.
It's especially powerful for large organizations which have so many different versions of signatures that they can just cater towards all the differences with one signature.
Yeah, decreases the IT department's workload by an immense amount.
Yeah. Let's go to the next one. The next one is all about automatically updating content. We've touched on this, I think, 1 or 2 insider episodes before, and now we have shipped this feature. So basically, in any of your assets, whether this is for Word, for PowerPoint, and so on, you can add a new column in your document library. The column needs to be called officeatwork_update. At least a physical name needs to be called that. Whatever the label you want to give it, you can change. And then you've got different options for that. You've got off, automatic, and optional. And depending on what the content is, you will choose one of those options. So for instance, an agenda which people will change for their presentation, that should not get updated, otherwise you're going to destroy their work. The same for the chapter. But then the management team or the market share numbers, well, you don't want ever anybody to run around with an old management team or old marketing numbers. That's why this is set to automatic. And these other ones are slides where it's more up to the user to decide whether he wants the newest version or not, because you never know whether it's going to alter that or not. So that's all in the power of the person who creates it, and I'd like to show you how this works. So for that, I'm going to take an automatic one. I'm going to go to the market share, and I'm just quickly going to open that one, and we're going to make some changes. But even before I make these changes, I should actually show you the proof of an existing presentation. So I'm going to load this on top. So this is my existing presentation, and you'll see that this slide here in my presentation is actually the same one as it is in the library right now. So let me close this again and let me make changes. So I'm going to 75 up here, and I'm saying I've made great progress here. I'm going to fill the shape with a color. I'm actually going to make the shape a bit bigger, and that's my big change. Maybe down here also I'm going to go to 76. So with those changes made, I'll just close this file. And that's basically my work done as the owner of a content. So this could be the marketing department, the product department, all the departments that offer content in SharePoint. And now I'm going to switch the role of a user. So I'm going to open that file again. And I'll quickly just select so you see the market share number. So this is a slide we worked on. I've got my hands off, and just via magic, it just automatically updates to the latest version. And that's the beauty, that we now have the power to control the update method, and the control is in the hands of the content creator.
Yeah, that makes it so much easier, because before you gave the end user the option of updating it if they wanted to or not, and now the control fully stays within, let's call it, the management's position or the content creator's position that actually created, and they get to decide, should this be updated, should this be optional, or just leave it off.
I mean, the default value, if you don't define this column, is on optional. That's the default value, the default behavior we had all the time. But now we've just got these 2 additional ones which you actively have to activate, which just give you the freedom of saying, hey, nobody's going to run around with old market share numbers, and nobody's going to run around with an old management team representation, because we have decided if they use that slide gets updated.
Mm-hmm. And within the verifier, it will then show you, so if it's automatic, the verifier will run in the background. If it's optional, the verifier will pop up and show you all the updates that are going to be given. And if it's off, then the updates won't even appear within that verifier.
Let's do that quick. Let's do that just to show that we have the 2 options available. They work side by side. So the services, I'm just going to open quickly, and I'm going to make a small change to that services slide. Services, let's call it best services. Okay, I made that change. And the the market share numbers. Let's go back to the market share numbers. Let's say we have latest numbers. We even improved again, and we're going to make it yellow this time because it's such a huge improvement. We're going to 88%. We're almost through the roof, and we're going to change the number. I'll go for blue. That's yellow is a bit too light. Okay, so we did that change too. Again, that was the role of the person responsible for the content. I'm now going to open up the file again. Let me get it on my other screen and open it up here. And you will see that the market numbers, this slide here, will automatically update by itself. It will not ask me. But then again, the verifier still pops up to ask me about the services, if I want the services updated. If I then say, yes, also update that, let me just highlight it so you can see. If I say update that too, I now have got that changed to best services.
That really changes how people are going to navigate presentations, but also within Word documents, because also there is going to be extremely useful because certain content you're going to want to be updated automatically, and other ones you want them to give the options. And then also for the ones going to depend on the user again, if they even want to update it themselves, and then it's just off and they can change it however they please.
Yeah, I mean, all of this has been made possible by a new technology Microsoft introduced, which is kind of a runtime environment that we have, and we are now starting to leverage all of that. There's more features to come, nothing I want to talk about right now, but we're looking at cases where we can just, again, make life simpler and reduce the workload for users, where it is clear that someone has decided it's that way and no other way. So I think we can get we can tick a little bit more out of that technology for the benefit of all users, and hopefully I'll be able to show you more stuff related to runtimes in the future. But for now, for this month, I think I picked the 2 highlights. I hope you like them, and hopefully we will see all of you again in the next show.
No, thank you. I really enjoyed it, and I actually can't wait to see what other updates are going to come within that runtime and anything else that we have on the horizon. It'll be exciting.